Would you like to talk about Draw Steel?
Yeah, go on then.
Yes.
Because we got told off for not Waivers of the World just spotted the flaw in my plan to rip out the odd numbered pages. Yeah, I realised that as soon as I said it, but I thought if no one else mentions it, I won't. But Rai says, aren't the odd numbered pages on the back of the even numbered pages? Yeah.
And this is why Jess handles operations.
Not in my new format, they're not. All the pages are one-sided, especially so that you can rip out the odd-numbered ones.
In your new world order, so every book is printed in A0, so that you can actually fit the titles that you have come up with on the front.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. That's for our new listeners. This is like an old running joke about Russ. His love of terrible titles, and how he thinks books could be bigger. And also so they could be in a sufficiently large print so you can read them properly.
Anyway. So, Draw Steel.
Yes.
So we got told off for not covering Draw Steel when it came out, and that was mainly because A, I hadn't realised it had come out, and B, I hadn't seen anything about it. And I think it kind of suffered a little bit because the Daggerheart, PR machine was just kind of swamping everything in the industry for a few weeks.
Oh, yes.
His Daggerheart everywhere. So,
yes.
Anyway, we have
Daggerheart was killing off D&D, but sadly appears to have not done so. Okay.
No, it has not done. It was never going to do so.
Yeah, I know.
But Draw Steel is out.
Yes.
At least in PDF, you can pre-order the hardcovers, but in PDF, it is out.
So what's been released? Exciting.
What's been released so far is the Players book, which is called Heroes. The Monsters book, which is called Monsters. And an adventure with a very old school looking cover on there called the Delian Tomb.
Delian? Oh, interesting.
Or Delian, maybe. Who knows?
Or Delian.
Or Delian.
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 Yeah.
The Tomb of Unpronounceability. Mark.
Yes. Yeah.
Ausbrilican tombs.
Yeah. So this is like, it's a big old thing. It's like 400 pages. These books are 400 pages with like a dense layout with lots of text and tables and stuff. So there's a lot of content there. It really is. I'm going to say it is a fairly, the 13th Age.
Yes.
It's a diametrically opposite game to 13th Age. And I'm going to go into some description of it in a minute and you'll see why.
Oh yeah, I'm interested to learn more. I don't know much about it, so I'm glad you've done a deep dive and done a bit of research.
Okay, so.
Do you mean 13th Age? Okay, all right, no.
Yes, when I said 13th Age, I meant 13th Age. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Not the 15th.
Not 15th Age, no.
Okay.
No.
I played 12th Age, but then. Yeah.
So, this was originally called the MCDM RPG back in, what was it, 2 years ago, I think? 2024, maybe? Early 2024?
2023. Project ended on January 5th, 2024, so it was clearly a Christmas job.
So that was a crowdfunder, which made over $4.5 million with over 30,000 backers. So it was massive.
Yeah.
Enormous. Did incredibly well.
Yes.
I mean, as you can see here, it is the fourth biggest tabletop role-playing crowdfunder in history. Nice. $4,500 there.
Nice.
And if you take out Avatar and Brandon Sanderson's Cosmic, because both those are kind of outliers at the 10+ region, it's kind of the second biggest. And Gloomhaven, I suppose you would take out because it was a board game with a attached role-playing game. So it might actually be it's the biggest.
I will stand on that point because it's like there's Gloomhaven box is like 140, 150 quid, and like slapping like a tiny little role-playing game on top of it, and it's like, it's a role-playing game, Kickstarter. No, it isn't.
In fairness, I don't think it was a tiny role-playing game stuck on it. I think that is actually a role-playing game version. There is a hefty book that goes with it. So I will stand on the other side. And I do take your point that if you have to buy a 150 quid board game to play a role-playing game, like I see why it did well. But I will say it's a role-playing game. Anyway.
I mean, perhaps I was confused about the size of the role-playing game due to the enormity of the box it was next to. Perhaps that threw me off. Who can say? Anyway. So yeah. Either way, top 5. Arguably,
I suppose technically you could say it's the biggest original, like non-licensed TTRPG crowdfunder ever.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
By a long shot, in fact.
Yeah.
So, did really, really well. So I thought I'd do a quick sort of dive into it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now bear in mind that I've not played this game.
Yes.
And I might get some of this wrong, and someone will shout at me, and fine.
But we're not worried about that, because
why are you doing this then?
This is your understanding. This is your understanding of the game from reading it and researching it. So this is the news you're presenting us.
Yes, yeah. So just to look at it, the art is incredible. It's gorgeous.
From the cover, it looks really classic fantasy, but with some interesting twists and monsters. Because looking in the background, I can see there's some classic imps and things, but then there's a weird skull spiky worm thing with skulls on. So it looks classic fantasy, but interesting, which I think the picture
I saw someone online say that it
is an angel, I guess.
Yeah, someone online said it very much reminds them, the art style, very much sort of like the Marvel films. It's kind of like everyone can fly around and shoot laser beams and has lightning crackling off their weapons and, all this sort of stuff. That's kind of a bit comic booky, I suppose, in a sense.
I mean, yeah, in the sense that we've got that whole quadratic mages, linear martials going on. Yeah. That's the visual language that's giving me. Like, you got a rogue, they got a sharp sword, very good with their sword, and you got a cleric who can empower their mace with magical power whilst also blasting away with their other hand. Great stuff.
I mean, in fairness, this sort of game, you do want that level of power fantasy. I want to play this type of fantasy role-playing game because I want to feel like a big damn hero. So yeah, I do want to jump around shooting lasers and magic, whatever's, Yeah. But anyway,
you can play the person who can jump around doing magic lasers out of their hands, or you can play the person with the sword.
We were just talking about the art style, and how gorgeous, how utterly gorgeous this book is.
Yes, there's an armor. It's like a beholder, but obviously legally distinct because it's a heavily armored one, if you can imagine such a thing.
And its eyeballs are not on stalks.
Not on stalks, yes. It's not all stalk.
Yeah.
It's like a tentacly meatball with teeth and many eyes wearing a helmet.
Yes.
I think that's fair. Yeah. And lots of teeth. Rows and rows of them.
Sharp.
Yeah.
It's also got teeth around its central eyeball, which feels... Does it bite people with its eyeballs?
Don't you?
Imagine how painful... when you get an eyelash in your eye and it's kind of a bit painful. Imagine if a tooth came loose and got in your eye. That's worse. But anyway, we like the art, is the summary of that discussion. What else?
Yeah. It is like very, very high production values. I mean, given the fact that it made $4.5 million on Kickstarter, that's no surprise. Yeah. You would expect it to be very high production values, but it is gorgeous. So one of the things about this thing is very cinematic. Like, the GM is called the director, and the whole game is set up to make sure you can always do something. You are always doing something. Okay. So, it takes out a lot of the things that take you out of the game, like stuns and things like that, to make sure you're always playing. You can't whiff anymore. You can't miss. You can't even miss anymore. When in combat, for example, when you make an attack, you do damage, even if you make a really bad roll. And instead of hit points, they have stamina, because it basically means the opponent still had to use up stamina to defend against that attack. So basically, it's not damage on a miss, but it's like there's no miss. It's like every roll does something.
You were telling me this was the exact opposite of 13th Age, and that sounds very similar to date. But please
wait till you see how tactical and gritty and complex it is, though.
13th Age does famously not involve grids, which I would say is actually a big point.
This is very, very heavily grid based, very heavily. there's an awful lot of like abilities and things, and it describes distances in squares even rather than distance.
Hmm,
It's that grid base. It will say this thing is 2 squares high rather than 10 feet high, sort of thing.
okay.
Yeah, so it is a complex game. I mean, the basic system is you use 2d10
Yes.
to attack or have a task, and whatever you roll, something's going to happen. You're not going to roll you attack roll and nothing happens. So basically, what happens is you get different tiers of effect.
Is this a
So
D100 roll or are the
no,
D10s
two
trained?
d10. So you've got a bell curve for adding the 2 numbers together.
Okay. Yeah.
So if you roll 11 or less, you get a tier 1 result.
Mm-hmm.
If you roll 12 to 16, you get a tier 2 result.
Mm-hmm.
If you roll 17 to 18, you get a tier 3 result. And then 19 to 20 is a crit.
Okay. That's fun.
And what's interesting there is at no point was an armor class requested. So if you're making an attack roll, you're making that roll. If you roll 9, you've got a tier 1 result. The defender's attack armor class is irrelevant.
Yeah. It sounds like they've considered the problems of playing at a table. For instance, saving throws are actually surprisingly time intensive because, like a D&D saving throw, you have to say, okay, I need you to make a save. And as the GM, I have to say, okay, what save would I have to make? And then you say dexterity, and I have to ask you again, what's the difficulty class of this save? Then I have to roll the dice.
It makes up for that in other ways. It is a complex game. You know, it's the attack
but
rolls
it's
are
like,
quick.
yeah, but the attack rolls are quick, and I'm guessing that there are various different defenses that you have in a manner similar to, say, 13th Age.
Defenses in what sense?
In the sense that armor class or whatever would not be the only thing. There would be something. Well, actually,
No, you don't roll against a defense. That's the point. You don't roll against a defense.
You just hit
It's a
it.
straight roll.
Yes.
And if you roll, then you know a tier 1 result will be, okay, you do this damage. Tier 2 will be, oh, you do a bit more damage and you add this condition. Tier 3 would be, oh, you do more damage and you add a couple of conditions. And then a crit is like a tier 3, but you also get an extra action.
Yeah.
You get to take an extra action because you critted.
Yeah, so they've just taken a whole pile of stuff out of the table interactions, which wasn't really doing that much in the first place. Okay, I like what they're doing. Tell me more.
Yeah. So that's basically the basic system. So character creation is it's a big old section of the book. It's quite complex. It's very, very customizable. Lots and lots and lots of options to choose. Loads of them.
Yeah.
Right. So we've got ancestries. So there's 12 of those.
Okay.
And they kind of you can tell they're kind of steering away from D&D.
Yes.
So while they do have a human, a dwarf, an elf, and an orc and a halfling, they change those, and also they add a devil, a memonok, or memonek, sorry, which as far as I can make out is some kind of alien robot, I think.
Cool.
We've got revenants, which are undead. We've got like time raiders, which are like Githyanki with 4 arms.
Okay.
Nice.
And then we've got humans, we've got dwarfs, but they actually have kind of rocky. I think they're made of rock, but there's a rocky element to their biological makeup.
Yeah.
We've got high elves. We've got woad elves, WODE elves, which I guess is wood elves, I guess.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Just change the spelling slightly. We've got some hakans, which are giants, or like half giants.
As pictured on the hero's book.
Yeah, we've got orcs, we've got halflings, but they're not called halflings, they're called polders, and they can meld into the shadows.
Ooh, stealthy.
And then we've got these sort of dragonborn types as well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I am immediately a little disappointed because it feels like they're just going back to those whole racial stereotypes, like you wouldn't have like a polder that would be raised in the Woad Elf tradition. It feels like
Oh no. They do separate out biology and culture.
okay, didn't sound like it, but I'm excited again. Let's go.
Yeah. So we have ancestries each have these signature traits.
Hmm.
And then they have a bunch of optional purchase traits you can choose from. So each ancestry, you're making choices. Even though you've chosen a dwarf, you're then choosing a bunch of different things.
You got a heritage, you got a gift to go with it. This is not like rocket science for me, Russ. I'll show you.
Yeah. Ray versus the World asks, any half-elf, did I miss the half-elf? Not as far as I can see. Unless I also missed it.
But maybe you can have dual, what do they call it? Biology? Ancestry?
Ancestries. Mixed ancestry.
Mixed ancestry. I don't know if you can or not. I don't know.
It might be that they're going down the route of these are species and therefore you wouldn't get a mixing of it, which has its own problems. Anyway, sorry, moving on.
So anyway, you then choose your culture.
Yes. Excellent.
And these add languages and skills.
Good.
So this is very A5E so far, to be honest.
I know. I'm approving of it. It sounds like the sort of setting inherent to it, which you could build on, and say yes, this is how this works, and that'd be good.
Yeah. You then choose a career.
Okay. Yeah.
Which I think is kind of a lot like a background. Basically, you can be a gladiator or a politician or something, and it gives you a bit of backstory, some perks, and you also have inciting incidents.
Oh,
nice.
Tell me more about those. What are those?
I don't know any more about that, to be honest.
Tease.
No, sorry.
Sorry. When mates both go, ooh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, but backstory generated in character would actually be quite good because it's actually a fairly difficult problem to resolve because, again, as I mentioned, many people do not enjoy homework in their TTRPGs. So one of the things I'm currently working on is a backstory generator, has a writing frame to help people dig into their characters and
that's what that's the beautiful thing about life path games. That's what I love about life path games. Because it does that for you. Brilliant. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. And this has that feel, which I am enjoying. Like maybe not quite as hard as Traveller, but I feel not entirely dissimilar either. And
well, I guess these sort of inciting incidents might be similar to like in backgrounds in our game. We have mementos and contacts, don't we? And then the contacts might be the army captain who abandoned you during that retreat, or a lost lover who you haven't seen since, or whatever. It'll be something like that. So that's similar, I think, in concept. I don't know how more in depth they go or not.
Yeah.
Then you've got perks, which are kind of feats, which you can choose.
Yeah.
Complications, which are things like you might be a cult victim, or you might have a magical disease, or you might have an elemental that lives inside you, or something.
Okay, so there's the possibility of a bit of disability representation. Sadly, conspicuous by absence in the artwork, but these are just the covers.
I've only showed you like 2 pieces of artwork.
Well, I can see
there's art on every page. Every page in this.
There are 3 pages. We're talking 3 pieces of art.
Oh, right. Okay, but that's just the ones I chose to show you. But there are literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pieces of artwork in these books. So I don't think you can judge whether something's represented in the artwork or not just by looking at those 3 pieces.
As I say, there is the opportunity for disability representation. I am fingers crossed that they will come for it.
Yeah. Okay. Then we have the classes. So there are 9 classes. These are the Censor, which is a bit like a paladin. We have the Conduit, which I think is a bit clericy-ish.
Censor. How are you spelling censor?
Censor.
Okay. All right.
We have the Elementalist. We have the Fury, which is kind of a barbarian.
Yeah. Okay.
We have the Null, Null, which is a bit like a monk, I think. The Shadow, which is a bit roguey.
Yeah.
Tactician, which is a bit fightery.
Well, a touch of martial, I would think. In fact,
No, yes, yeah, a bit.
the
Yeah,
warlord
and fightery though.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Right.
The talent, which is the psionic class.
Ah, yes. That for me means that the null has like more. That I now hear talent and there's psychic powers. I now expect the null to have an effect which nullifies and has a calming effect around them, which gets rid of magic and so forth. I don't know, but that's what I'm expecting. No, I know. Back on.
And then we have the troubadour, which is basically their bard.
Yeah.
So it's got a level cap of 10, levels 1 to 10. But at each level, you are choosing between 60 to 100 features. You're choosing 60 to 100. You have a choice of between 60 and 100 features per level per class. It's that complex and dense and crammed. That's when I said it's a complex game. There's a lot of stuff in there. You go up a level, you've got a big old menu of stuff to choose from.
It's really interesting.
I mean, Jessica?
I was just thinking, we were saying earlier, there's some people that love building characters and trying stuff out. This seems like this is the game for them.
Yeah.
I think clearly one of the goals here is that no two characters will ever be the same. So I think the odds on two characters being the same, given the number of choices you're making at every single stage of the character creation process, would make the odds on two people having even vaguely similar characters at the table quite unlikely.
Yes. I am quietly hopeful that they will not have repeated the design processes of, say, 3rd edition and include trap options, so that you do not have to have complete system mastery before you start playing. And that you'll be able to pick stuff that you think sounds cool.
I do feel that this game is one that will reward system mastery. The sense I get from this is it is that type of game.
Yeah, who knows?
Well, I don't know about traps, but you know.
Yeah. Well, like traps were a thing by design in 3rd edition, which was as choice. But anyway, yes. Back on. We talk about
anyway. Yeah. Anyway, so it's really interesting. You know, I don't know if I'd actually play it myself, but it's got meta-currencies. This is an interesting choice. It's got meta-currencies, but each class has a different meta-currency.
Okay, yep.
So we've got the Fury gains ferocity when they take damage.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
The Troubadour gains drama when a number of your allies do a combo.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm quite liking this because you've got the 8 classes and the hype man, which, why not? But it feels like these meta currencies are, if I say player adjudicated, it's like, you would know your own meta currency as part of learning your character. And it feels very much like you are expected to learn your character because expecting your GM to know this is no bueno.
Yeah. Well, let me go through them. So that was the Fury and the Troubadour's meta currency. The Censor gets Wrath when a judged target. So I guess one of the Censor's abilities is to judge a target. When they damage their judged target, or when their judged target damages you, the judged target feels like a marked target kind of thing. The Conduit gains piety by praying.
Okay.
The Elementalist gains essence by damaging their target.
All right. Yep.
The Null gains discipline, and they get that when someone acts near them or when the GM uses malice, which is the GM's own meta currency.
I like that it's called malice. That's very good.
Strong.
Yeah.
Like Doom was already
the Shadow,
but malice is a good one. Yeah.
The Shadows is called Insight. The Tacticians is called Focus, and the Talents is called Clarity. I mean, the Talents one, they gain clarity whenever there's a forced movement. Which is very specific, but still.
All these things are making me intrigued to play as a player. But
Yes.
I think I'll be a bit hesitant to GM this
Mm.
because I think this feels a bit like, and I don't want to belittle it by saying, but there was a lot of spin-offs of D&D after you know,
The
2021.
D20 explosion, yeah.
Yeah, and this feels like something that's really exciting for the players. And I know other systems are like exciting for the GM, but this, I don't know, this makes me want to be a player, but I don't think I'm rushing to run a game. From my immediate first impressions, maybe I'm missing things, but I would be
Maybe
interested in
it's super
sitting
easy
down
to
to the
run.
game. Maybe that's what I mean.
Yeah.
But
Like,
I
hard to say.
Yeah. I mean, we can have a look at one of the classes here.
Oh yes, please.
I've got a look at the tactician there. I don't know if you can actually read that. It might not be a clear enough image.
Oh, yeah.
But you can see sort of what the tactician looks like at character creation.
He sort of reminds me of like a Sikh bloke, which I know is a bit of a weird thing to say, but he's just got like that long flowing black hair. And martial and ready to kick ass and take names. Nice.
Yeah.
Some really good art there. And
I mean, the art all through is...
And you were telling me the layout was dense and awful. That's actually quite a friendly layout. They've clearly paid a good deal of money for graphic design, and it shows.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of tables in this book, though.
Yeah, you've got
a lot of
scores,
tables.
health, skills, kits, basic attacks, resistance rolls, features, a list of them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of information there. It is well laid out.
Yes.
There is. There's a lot of information there. This isn't a light role-playing game, but it never presented itself as such.
I am consumed with curiosity about the flavor text quote, which is being partially obscured by the logo of the show.
Hang on, I can change that. Let me just update that. It says, "Your line is broken, Varrox. Your wizard is dead. Haha, you should have negotiated." Okay, I'm definitely warming to this game because like a good bit of flavor text is just like making me say, yes, I could see this tells me a lot about how the character should be played. I would argue. It's saying, yep, sucks to be you, suck.
Let's talk about combat a little bit because this is a very combat heavy game.
Draw steel,
so it's
heavy game.
Tactical grid based combat. And you pretty much have to use a grid with this.
So that's fine.
Initiative is interesting. So initiative is alternating side initiative.
Okay.
So one side goes first. They choose which one of them's going to act. Then the other side goes. And then the first side goes. Then the other side goes. Now, popcorn's slightly different. So popcorn is each person, after they're taking their turn, chooses who goes next. So that's popcorn initiative. And then it can be one of their own side or one of the other side, depending on how you want to kind of stack up like a bunch of people together or spread them out or whatever. This one, side-based, alternating side is the PCs go. So the PCs between them decide which one of them is going to go. Then the monsters go, and then the GM kind of decides which monster's going to go. And
so it's side by side, but nominate. So interesting. All right.
Yeah. I don't know how that works with unequal numbers on each side.
Well, indeed,
I assume there's it might be a mechanism where like the players have one and then the GM has two going or something. I don't know, but
I'm sure the action economy is finely balanced because
it
does not feel that they would neglect this important part.
Yeah. Well, the action economy. So your action's based into a move, a maneuver, and a main action. Although you can demote the main action to a move or a maneuver, I believe.
Okay.
There's loads of conditions: prone, restrained, taunted, and weakened, and so forth. As we mentioned earlier, damage is dealt every time you attack. Whether or it's not a you hit or you miss. It's you make the attack to see how good your attack is, and that's how much damage you do. So every attack will do something, even if it just weakens the enemy's stamina by a little bit because it's defending against your attack.
Yeah. For example, and one of the things I'm noticing straight away is the tactician that you've got up here. I noticed they've got a taunt mechanic, which is deeply lacking from various forms of 5th edition. Because there's no real reason, as if you play a computer game, like often the enemies will just walk past your front line and attack the back line, and you're like, that's illegal. No, it's not. Oh, whereas here you can say, no, pay attention to me, which I'm intrigued by to see how that plays out.
Yeah. So the combat, very, very strong focus on positioning and tactical play. There's a lot of things which sort of push enemies and do forced movement, and your exact position matters, and your height matters, and all this sort of stuff. So it's very, very sort of very tactical combat, very tactical, and kind of cinematic. Everyone's jumping around and doing exciting things all the time.
Nice.
They also have a negotiation rule set in there as well. Basically, social combat in a way.
That makes sense based on the quote saying you should have negotiated.
Aha.
Yeah. So an NPC. So an NPC has two scores. One is called interest, and one is called patience. And what you're trying to do is increase their interest without running out their patience. And they go from 0 to 5. So you want to try and get the interest up to 5 before the patience hits 0.
That's nice. I like that thematically, and also it seems simple enough mechanically.
Yeah. The way it's kind of presented is you make sort of social roles using reason, intuition, or presence, which are your kind of 3 mental ability scores. But also certain arguments. Each NPC has motivations and pitfalls.
Okay.
So if you use an argument or say something which matches a motivation, that will build interest. You don't know what the NPC's motivations and pitfalls are necessarily, unless you've maybe discovered them some other way.
If it was me, you could be like, Jess, why are we fighting? We could just go play Baldur's Gate 3.
Exactly.
That would be a strong.
And that would build interest.
It would.
And then if you say something which is one of their pitfalls, that will drain their patience.
Yeah. Which is Baldur's Gate 3 is terrible. We should play it. We should play a better game.
Yes.
There's no accounting for taste, PJ.
Yeah.
I was just demonstrating a pitfall for you, which would
Yes.
Yikes. Anyway, run, flee. So that sounds pretty interesting. It reminds me very strongly of Exalted 2nd Edition, which also had a social combat thing, which worked pretty much exactly that same way, which I quite enjoyed.
I'd love to see how it plays into play, because it's kind of, it does lean very much into making ability checks rather than role playing, but it does say that good role playing could mean an automatic success. So
pushing aside the seething brew of toxicity, which is the phrase "good role playing" and what that means to people. Let us not. Let us move away from that. Basically, you're doing a stunt, which is I think that's quite interesting, because it's adding a tactical element to a social situation, in that you're trying to work out what people want, and then once you know roughly what they like and possibly dislike, then you would focus your arguments on that. And if you constructed a clever set of words to go through it, then maybe that would lower the difficulty class, or you'd gain bonuses from mentioning the right things, which would be more entertaining for the people at the table than saying, I'd like to roll to persuade them. So maybe that's what they are alluding to.
But bear in mind, there are no difficulty classes in this. You're never rolling against a target number. You're making your check, and then you're getting a tiered result.
Yeah, but presumably you'd add a bonus from getting these motivations, or whatever you're calling them.
I don't know whether that's a bonus, whether that just automatically sort of you hit one of their pitfalls, that automatically drains a point of patience, for example, or whether I don't know whether that's the case.
Yeah, you construct a good enough speech, but that feels like that's relying on what I'd call a hard skill, which is the ability to think on your feet, to process language quickly and effectively, which I happen to be quite good at, because I have spent years practicing how to do that sort of thing, and which other people find extremely difficult because they have problems with processing language. So there are definitely it's actually a really complicated topic. So I'll shut up now.
Okay.
I sense Russ's patience will be draining rapidly.
Do you have anything to pique us in? Look, a dog.
Yes, the dog would do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else have we got? So we got some downtime stuff, which can include some great big large scale things like roads and things, building roads and airships.
Yeah.
So you can
Nice.
do big projects during your downtime.
Mhm.
I think that's kind of covered most of what I know about this game, to be honest. There's
Yeah.
obviously tons more to say about it, but I
Yeah.
haven't played the game.
I
I
mean,
couldn't say. I mean, the news really is it's out, and this is the small amount of stuff that I know about it is what the news is.
yeah. I mean, as a GM, I would be interested in, can I farm off the building various creations and so forth to the players so they can do all the hard work, and I can say, oh yeah, good job, you've completed all the bits and pieces, or would I have to like do more work for them, like make witness rolls and so forth, which not my favorite thing to do, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
It feels like a lot of the world building stuff is kind of strongly written into the game, especially with a lot of the sort of devils and psionics and almost bordering on sci-fi stuff at times.
Yeah.
Very much built into sort of actual existing world lore, which I assume comes from an existing world, maybe Matt Colville's own setting, perhaps, or I don't know. But that seems quite heavily baked in.
Yeah, like it's a game where you have to embrace weird fiction, which I'm not against. I think weird fiction is quite cool. Although, will I like the setting that they produce enough to really get into it? I don't know. That's a problem because I don't enjoy reading encyclopedias. Some people do. Fair play to them. Glad for them. Like everyone should have their own fun. But for me, if you give me like this whole gazetteer or manual of the planes or something, it's like it doesn't excite me. But that's just a me problem. So
Yeah, a lot of people love that stuff. Though. A lot of people will
a lot of people really love that stuff.
Buy those Forgotten Realms books and pour over them. You know, a lot of people like those stuff. Or those coffee table books about. We got a coffee table book about the alien. It's called the Weyland Yutani manual, research manual or something. Coffee table book, and
manual. Yeah, exactly. It's got all the details and lots of.
And a lot of people love that stuff, and we'll just pour over that.
I mean, I have read a Michael Crichton book or two in my time. I'm not averse to it, like, you know, in a fictionalized setting, but I do prefer. But it's the sort of thing that would make me want to learn by playing rather than by reading. So, you know, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be for me. It can be for other people, and maybe they'll enjoy it. In fact, it sounds like if you like really complicated systems with lots of customizability, lots of granularity, lots of little knobs to twiddle, and you want to really dig into lore and have it be strongly reflected in your character choices, this does sound like it's going to be an excellent system.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I just feel it just got slightly, eclipsed by Daggerheart's massive PR juggernaut in the last few weeks. Or maybe they're just waiting for the Daggerheart PR juggernaut to die down a bit, and then they're going to do one of their own because, MCDM has a big reach. Big reach. So maybe give it 2 or 3 months when Daggerhearts has died down a bit. We're going to be hearing about Draw Steel constantly, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's entirely possible. People have to actually read the books first. And maybe there'll be a nice YouTube explainer. You never know.
There's loads of YouTubes about it if you want to go and look for them. Yeah.
Okay.
I watched a couple, but most of them are like 7 hours long, and I'm like, I don't have 7 hours.
7 hours. My interest has been piqued. I think if I see this being run at a convention, I would jump to have a play and see what it's about. I'm not willing to buy it and run it though. But I do want to. I am interested. I definitely. It's one of those games I want to play to see if I like it first. You know, sometimes you hear about a game and you're like, "That's for me." Gonna buy that. It's not one of those for me, but I'm very interested. I think I like a lot of the things you mentioned. So watch this space.
I think the Draw Steel starter set is the quick start guide. That's going to be something that I would probably want to pick up and have a look at.
They're also working on their own VTT as well.
Wow. Okay. So
virtual table job.
Will that have
proper
character
dive
building in as well, or?
I assume so.
I-
I'd be
I can't-
amazed if it
I
didn't.
can't imagine it not. Yeah, that
Hmm.
what is the point? I guess because also they would really struggle to get Demi playing or something to do it for them, and I don't think D&D Beyond would be up to the job, to be honest. Like, you know, just too many options for that interface.
Well, D&D Beyond doesn't do anything but D&D. There aren't
Yeah.
any non-D&D products on D&D Beyond. This is
And there's
not
that.
D&D, or even much like it.
Yeah, ironically, they don't go beyond D&D.
Yes, you would have thought they would, wouldn't you? Yeah. So Ryan versus the World said in the chat, said, I'm just worried about the everyone hits all the time thing. I just wanted to sort of mention that very quickly, because I don't think that's what it is. Because they very specifically don't have hit points.
Yes.
They have stamina. And what
Yeah.
that is saying is you went to swing at them and they blocked your attack, but it used up a little bit of their stamina to do so.
Yeah.
I think, you know, if you attack and you just get like a tier 1 thing, you do a little bit of stamina damage to them. What it is they've exerted some stamina defending against your attack. So I don't think it is everyone hits all the time.
It's a different strategy than playing in D&D, because in D&D, if you hit every time, it's like, well, we just have to keep going, and eventually we're going to grind them down. But like you mentioned, Russ, because it doesn't work like that. It's not like it's going to be just a grind of how many hit points to bring it down by. It's a different thing.
Well, like this, and I don't propose going into this in depth, but we don't actually really understand what hit points are because they've never been properly defined as a concept.
They've been defined a lot of times. It's just that everybody just likes having that argument and claims they haven't been.
Sure. It's been defined a lot of times. So you can stab a level 20 barbarian, like, I don't know, 80, 90, 100 times.
We can have this conversation, but we can have this conversation. But we know all of the arguments on either side of that conversation and how that conversation goes. There's no point having it.
I feel stamina is maybe a bit better defined. I don't think that they have been well defined, in my opinion, but you differ, and I think maybe that's part of the problem. So I don't know if that helps you out, Rye versus World, but yeah, like don't think of it as hit points, think of it as stamina.
So I did watch a bit of a YouTube of them playing this,
Nice.
and they were in this combat, and I didn't watch it in full. I scrubbed through it because it was long. I was just trying to get a sense, but there was just to get an idea of the complexity of it. And we were sort of saying that, this sounds like this will speed combat up, and I said, no, I don't think it will, because the actual result was, certainly in the video I watched, and that was by MCDM, they were fighting like 6 goblins and it took them an hour. Which was a long time. A long time.
What was the hold up for us?
Because there's so much detail and so much fiddly stuff going on constantly.
Yeah.
Working out exact positions and movement and all this sort of stuff, and people are using all these different abilities. And so while the actual attack roll is boiled down to one roll, it makes up for complexity in other ways.
Right. Okay.
6 really hench goblins, maybe.
Yeah. And one of my problems with games is sort of like, even in D&D I get this, is generally when it comes down to my turn, I know what I'm doing, and I'll say what I'm doing, and my turn will be over within sort of 17 seconds. Really quick. I know what I'm doing, and I do it. And then I sit there and I wait 20 minutes for my next turn. And I'm having 17 minutes of gameplay every 20 minutes. I just switch off. I just get so bored. I switch off. I tune out of the game completely. So I think this probably helps a little with that, but it does worry me, with the fact that everyone's doing stuff all the time. But it does worry me that combats can take an hour to fight 6 goblins. That worries me a little, because I remember those D&D 40 fights that just dragged on and on and on and on, and they're just too long.
But as I understood it, the main problems were big bags of hit points, and even when you basically won, there was still a grind ahead, and also there are a lot of reactions out of turn. So if someone did something,
which slows things down a lot.
And they make I can see, like, as a GM, I would have a nightmare time keeping track of that sort of thing. So yeah, interesting stuff. No, but yeah, it does sound like it'd be fun, and I think it'd be. I'm with Jess here. I would love to play this game. Love to run, not so much.
It does look amazing. It looks like an accomplishment. It looks like a really, really heavily engineered, well-crafted game. It's gorgeous. It's complex and tactical. I haven't, as I say, played it. I don't know whether that translates to actual play, but I suspect they've done an awful lot of play testing, so I suspect it does. I don't know. I liken it to kind of like almost like Pathfinder 2E, as compared to 5E, and that is, more so. It goes further.
Yeah. It's more Pathfinder 2E than Pathfinder 2E is, which is a hell of a thing. Very technical accomplishment. What I would love is I would love the computer game version. I'd like just like play it online with mates and do a run through, and then I can be an expert on my character. I'm having a good time, and you're just like watching, and the computer does all the heavy lifting, which would be nice.
Yeah. Anyway, that is basically all I have to say about Draw Steel.
There's quite a lot you had to say. Thanks for sharing
it. It was quite a lot. Yeah, I did a big old dive this morning. They're about 50 quid per book, £50 per book. I think it was like 52 or something. Well, they were 48 last week when I looked, so they've changed. But they were like 52 for each of the 2 books. You get the PDF with it.
That's good.
So that is in dollars. Yeah, and so in dollars, it's
$40, unless they're selling them cheaper over there.
A bit less than that, but yeah.
Right about that mark, 130.
That's what I'd expect to pay for a system like this. That sounds what I was expecting.
Yeah.
I mean,
right, should we move on?
Yes, let's.